Do you remember how you felt when you first heard this? Well, I do. I was a kid and I was in awe of Star Wars the first time I ever saw it. I remember running around my house, acting like I was Luke Skywalker in a duel to the death with Darth Vader. I remember sitting on my bed, acting like I was an X-Wing fighter pilot, making that glorious trench run to destroy the Death Star and save the galaxy. Yes, Star Wars had a profound effect on me, but I was astonished to find out the effect that it had on society was even more profound. Never in the history of film has a movie impacted society the way that Star Wars has. From the opening credits to the ending credits, viewers were captivated and engulfed in a world that Tom Brokaw called, in an interview for the 25th anniversary of Star Wars, the quintessential Western played out in another universe. So what does this all mean? Well, I'm going to show you, hopefully persuade you, that Star Wars should be considered one of the most influential films of all time, if not the most. Now, first off, Star Wars wrote the book on special effects. In fact, the special effects were so big, so expansive, so detailed, so expensive, that George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, created his own special effects company called Industrial Light and Magic, or ILM. Now, if that's not enough for you, according to LucasArts' website, in 1977, when Star Wars released, it won 8 Academy Awards. 4 of those were for the visual effects of the film. Now, ILM wasn't the only company to be formed because of Star Wars. Lucas Licensing was formed in the year 1980, and it was created to oversee the licensing of products and merchandise, and has gone on to become the most successful licensing company of all time. Another company that came about because of Star Wars was Lucasfilm, the company that distributes or that produces the Star Wars movies. Now, this came about because of George Lucas's distrust of the big film companies and the way that they handled the original Star Wars movie. This also set about the age of independent filmmakers. It really brought that to the forefront. LucasArts, which is the game division, was also formed because of Star Wars and because of Lucasfilm. Now, in 1979, LucasArts started doing research for digital editing, digital imaging, electronic editing, and interactivity. Things that we still use in the industry, in the film industry today. Things that have become kind of the quintessential norm for the film industry today. Now, in 1985, Lucas formed Pixar. Now, Pixar, the way that you think of it, is this group that came about with the computer animation movies. Movies like Toy Story, Finding Nemo, The Incredibles. It's the same company. In 1986, Lucas sold the company to Steve Jobs. Now, I know what you're saying. Lucas sold the company to Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is the one that pioneered the way for computer-generated movies. Now, that may be true, but let's take it down to baseline. If there were no Star Wars, there'd be no need for the special effects, for computer animation, for any of that. There would be really no need. There would be no desire to advance the way that that was. So, even though Steve Jobs may have taken Pixar a little bit further, Pixar's roots are deeply seated into Lucasfilm. Now, there were other companies. THX, the sound company that is like the best sound company that's attached to all movies today. That was formed because Lucas wanted the picture and the sound to be delivered to the audience the way the filmmaker intended it. Now, there were other companies that were formed because of Star Wars. There was Kerner Optical, which is a effects company, and there was Skywalker Sound. Now, the original Star Wars movies spawned 2 sequels, but neither one of those sequels advanced the movie industry the way that the prequels did that were released in 1999, 2002, and 2005. The 1999 release of Episode 1 was the first movie to be screened digitally to audiences. It is also said to be one of the first films to offer a digital and all-digital main character that interacted seamlessly with the live action. Now, there had been digital side characters that interacted, but this is the first time that a main character was all digital. Well, in 2002, Lucas followed up with the release of Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Now, according to Jim Andrala's A Brief History in Film and Digital Media, Episode 2 was the first film to be shot on an all-digital frame. Now, this pioneered the way for the way that we see movies today. It pioneered the way for films such as Avatar, such as Toy Stories, the Cars. This set the stage for HD and for Blu-ray. Now, Star Wars just didn't affect the film industry. It also affected other aspects of society. Remember LucasArts, the video game company? Well, according to Wikipedia, there are over 100 video games that were distributed underneath the LucasArts banner. Now, that goes along with the countless comic books, novels, and collectible merchandise that's being distributed. And it's the only film on record that I know of that has its own unofficial holiday. Now, May the 4th is considered Star Wars Day because of a mispronunciation of a popular phrase from the movie, May the Force be with you. Star Wars is even taught in classrooms at New York University in a class called From the Iliad to Star Wars. So let's recap, shall we? The movie Star Wars has spawned several different companies that we use today. Pixar, THX, ILM, Skywalker Sound. It produced its own game company that has distributed over 100 different video games. It has its own unofficial holiday, which is official, by the way, in the state of California. And here's another interesting tidbit. In 1997, the original Star Wars trilogy was re-released in theaters, and it became the most successful re-release of any film in history, a feat that Avatar is trying to do right now. Hopefully, this has all made you see that Star Wars is one of the most, if not the most, influential film of all time. So remember, the next time you get lost in that fantasy world of lightsabers and spaceships,
remember, the Force will be with you, always.